say, ah, I see, the males look like
right.
this, the females look, one doesn't have a clue how one tells, but one learns to be able to tell. At any rate, that was the myth. And it's supposing that is so about how chicken sexing proceeds. It's puzzling that it works, but it's not. We can't rule it out that it works. I think we could say some somewhat Davidsonian things. I mean, I'm remembering remarks you make about the mere empirical contingency of the particular mechanisms whereby we fetch up able to speak confidently about the environment. So it's just contingent that when I speak about the visible environment and somebody says, you're saying that it's a gerbil because that's the way it looks, right? I'll say, yeah, right, that is why I'm saying it's a gerbil. I won't respond in the way that these perhaps mythical chicken sexers respond, saying, no, it doesn't look any particular way. I have no clue why I feel like saying what I say. I just feel like saying it. Okay. Now, think about the chicken sexers. A way of coming at my sense that there's a baby being thrown out with your bathwater is that it seems to me it ought to be your line, that it could be that all our rock-bottom abilities to speak knowledgeably about how things are in the immediate environment was like that.
No,
right? It could be that there was nothing nothing there except an inclination to say things that it turns out, if this inclination has been drilled into presence in the right kind of way, issues in the saying of things that are mostly true.
Let me accept it, because I think there must be cases like this. It seems to me I don't see that I have any difficulty with it at all.
I have no difficulty with the chicken sexers, but I think I have no difficulty with the chicken sexers because elsewhere, as it were, they're onto their observable environment in a way that isn't like that. And that's a condition of taking them to be onto anything at all, that they're onto their observable environment in a way that
but
isn't
look,
like
I like this.
It couldn't be that somebody could count as being onto the observable environment in a way that was like that across the board. But it seems to me that on your picture it ought to be that it could be that somebody was onto the observable environment in a way that was like that across the board. So the chicken sexers are fine. We take them in stride. Yeah. Because, I mean, if he backtracks and says, well, at least it's a chick, yeah. And you say that because it looks like a chick, right? He's going to say, yeah, right, it looks like a chick. It isn't that he has no idea why he feels like saying it's a chick. He feels like saying it's a chick because that's the way it looks. Whereas he feels like saying it's male, he has no idea why he feels like saying it's male.
Yeah. But John, it's not any part of my view at all that a person shall always, or even ever, be able to say what it is about what he sees that makes him say what he says. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But even if it could never do it, it wouldn't interfere with my view, which is we. That's
my point. That's the baby. It seems to me unintelligible that it should be like the chicken sexers all over.
Well, the reason I don't see. Well, look, it all depends. There are all kinds of things that I come to believe just by looking. I mean that the electrons are thicker over there than they are over there, or something like that. I believe just by looking, although I can't see an electron. Yeah. Now, if you ask me, what is it that I see that that reveals that to me. Either I don't give you any story at all, or I give you a sort of song and dance about electrons and so forth, all the background stuff. In the same way, if you ask, how do I know there's a difference between an undetached chicken part and a chicken, the answer is going to go by way of knowing about parts and the notion of detachment and a lot of stuff like that. So it's bound to be the case that sometimes when we're led to believe something by just looking, there's an account that we can give in terms of what we see. And there isn't bound to be, though, in every case, because in the end, we learn that this is the thing to say now, right? When somebody else says it, actually. It comes later, so to speak, that we can explain what it is about what we see that might have led us to that. But I mean, we can pick out a person from a background long before we can describe anything about the scene and so forth. So I'm not troubled by the fact that this could, if we had extremely primitive vocabulary and set of concepts, that all of them would be so that we couldn't explain what it is that we're seeing that leads us to believe. I don't. The thing is, there's such a tremendous number of things that we're led to believe by what we see. And if there weren't, it's not clear whether it would be thought, because it has to have a great deal of complexity, really, to be the real thing.
Yeah. I guess I knew you weren't troubled. I actually have a question about a slightly different area. When you argue against the idea of communal norms of language, the main point, I think, is one that can be summed up by talking about ideas like the idea of speaking as the educated do or as the rich do. You, I know, cringe when people say what the data shows is, but you don't think that this cringe that cringe reaction is reflective of something deep. I mean, something that gets at the essence of